Today, we're answering your questions in a special Ask Me Anything AMA episode and announcing our April Embracing Autism grant recipient, chosen this month from our Patreon members. But before we get started, don't forget to support our mission by giving us a like, share, and subscribe. It's free, but it really helps us reach more families like yours. So let's get started. Hi, Embracers.
Welcome back.
Hopefully my mic is a little better. Last time I was on here, it was really, really hot mic, and I didn't notice until it was too late. So
Just because
sorry,
you wanted,
everyone.
just because you wanted to be important, you had to turn up the volume.
Oh man, it was bad. For future reference, if you all are listening out there and something like that happens, feel free to comment because sometimes we don't know until it's too late. But yeah, we wanted to do something special to wrap up Autism Acceptance Month. And so we thought, what better thing to do than an AMA session? We haven't done one in a while, it feels like. So we started to put some questions together. We had some on our Patreon page. For those of you who aren't familiar, our Patreon page is patreon.com/autismwish. We'll be moving a lot of our stuff there. So definitely get subscribed on there. There's extra perks if you're a paid member, like 5 extra bonus entries into our monthly random selection. But there's also resources there just for free members as well. But we wanted to go ahead and get started. A lot of you sent really interesting, amazing, heartfelt type of questions. Some of them that we totally relate to, some of them that I feel it was kind of new to us. But, first, thank you for trusting us with your questions. I think I picked a variety that we can all kind of relate to, so we can go ahead and jump right in. Matt, do you have anything to add before we get started?
No, I think we can just dive right in.
All right. So the first question that I have here, and I'm going to keep these anonymous because the parents never tell me if they're okay with their name being out there. And I know that autism can be personal because they haven't necessarily disclosed. So just for the sake of privacy, unless you explicitly said I could use your name, I am not going to mention your name. But this question is from a mom. She says, I'm trying to teach my daughter how to ask before taking something. What's the best way to model this? And it sounds like she's looking for advice on scripting or modeling behavior. So, Matt, do you have any tips for her?
I mean, we're honestly still working on this from time to time, mostly because let's say our youngest, it seems pretty independent and wants to try and resolve everything that she can. So she tends not to ask until we kind of remind her, like, well, you have to ask for permission for this. I mean, we could do like the idea of essentially like us role playing a little bit. So like she gets like repetition to see like, oh, like whenever I want to, I don't know, bake cookies or something, rather than me getting all the things together and start cracking eggs, maybe I should ask mom like, oh, can we make brownies or something today? So like we can like try and do like a little bit of like role playing where either Leah and I can like ask one another and she be there. And then she kind of sees like, oh, we ask for things when we want to do something, and kind of get that repetition a little bit. But again, we're still kind of struggling with that one a little bit.
I think this one also depends on a couple of factors, like if your child is verbal or nonverbal, whether they have an intellectual disability or not, and also if they have additional disabilities like ADHD. So for our kid, she has ADHD, which makes that impulse control a little bit harder. So if your kid has an additional diagnosis like that, or they have issues with like executive dysfunction or impulse control, the modeling is really, I think, the better way to do it, where you're modeling the behavior over time. And then that way they kind of just absorb it through observation. You can also incorporate it through play, again, depending on the age of your child. But honestly, it's been a challenge because I will just say myself as a person with both autism and ADHD, but mostly on the ADHD side, I sometimes struggle with like impulsively saying things. So, Matt, what is it? Why are you eye rolling or smirking? You're like, ain't that the truth?
We have to model behaviors for Leah too, so sometimes she forgets
Yeah.
to ask for
So
permission.
I'm not the best
S-
model. Maybe they're just copying
So,
me. Yeah, so that's the other thing to take into consideration is that if they have that impulse control issue, it's going to be another challenge on top of that. So if you have not diagnosed or looked into potential an ADHD assessment, maybe just get them checked just to see if there is any of that going on. And if that's the case, that provider can probably provide you with more resources. For us, it's really just like modeling behaviors and then reinforcing the positive behaviors. So they can maybe, if they show those behaviors over X amount of time, they can earn like an ice cream date with us, or we just positively reinforce with like smiles and hugs or tickles or whatever it is that they like. We just always make sure to make it fun and reinforcing.
Yeah, definitely reinforce so they kind of get the idea like, oh, I did like something good and like a positive attribute rather than trying to like punish for not doing it. Because I've learned the long way that rewards are better than any type of like, I don't know, punishment or like anything like that. So it's always better to try and reward versus any type of punishing.
Absolutely. So here's the next question. This one says, my son is verbal, but struggles with recognizing cues, especially potty cues. We've been trying for over 2 years, but every time we make progress, he regresses. Any advice? Well, this one is very relatable, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, we struggle with the older one as far as recognizing when she needs to go, and sometimes it's a little too late, where she has to make like a mad dash to the door to use the restroom. Honestly, I was thinking back, we had the IRL of
I was just going to
the
say, I don't think that one has aired yet.
oh, never mind.
Yeah. So I was going to just tease that, but you
Okay,
can go ahead and tease it because I don't
so
think it's aired yet. If
we'll
it
have to
has,
check.
forgive me, but I don't think it has.
So we have an IRL coming up that is strictly focused on potty training, and there's a lot of great information there as far as like I think going beyond the standard, like, okay, you're ready to potty train, like let's sit you on the potty and like wait for you to go potty. Like that's we we didn't do just that. We tried to do some other activities where we like were changing diapers in the bathroom. But this kind of breaks down almost like the child psychology behind all the different like encounters that they will experience sensory wise with using the restroom as far as like the transition from diapers to the toilet. So, I think it was helpful, but obviously
Yeah.
it hasn't aired yet.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So that is a little teaser for y'all. I think, if my memory serves correctly, I don't believe that one has aired yet. If it has, you guys can just laugh at me. Um, but yeah, that's another thing that we learned is that basically part of the key to helping your child successfully use the bathroom is to really make it be stress free. You don't really want to make it feel like there's a lot of pressure on it because that can just make things worse. So we really did like unstructured potty training at the beginning where it was just kind of like, okay, we'll bring you to the bathroom, we'll get you familiar with the bathroom, we'll read stories about going to the bathroom, we'll watch videos, all that stuff without any of the pressure of actually making them have to go and use the toilet in the bathroom. And then we gradually would add something in, like changing their diapers in the bathroom only or sitting them down only. I know one of the key things is to not force them to sit on the potty until they go. One of the things about that is it kind of not negatively reinforces, but it kind of takes away the association of going to the bathroom to actually like release your bowels and your bladder if you're just sitting there. So definitely that's one thing that I learned is like don't just sit your kid for kicks. Only do it if you feel like they actually are going to go. But yeah, keep an eye out for that episode. We'll have a really in-depth look at that in the future. Probably be out in the next couple weeks, I think. Next question. This one is about toothbrushing, which we also have struggled with. So this one is spitting out toothpaste is a big issue for us. My child still uses fluoride-free toothpaste because of it. How can I help him learn this skill? So this is about not swallowing toothpaste and graduating to being able to use fluoride toothpaste. Uh, we have graduated to using fluoride toothpaste. We have not fully graduated to spitting it out, but I think for us, it's more of a troll, at least with the older kid. The younger one, I think she's successfully done that, right?
she does a better job than the older one does with that. Mostly because I think they've kind of like turned it into like a little bit of almost like a game.
Yeah, that's
Because
the
they each
problem.
well, yeah, they have like their water cups, and then they recently figured out like gargling. So like we've set up like as far as like okay, after you brush, you like take a sip of water to rinse out the toothpaste, and then you spit in the sink. Um, they take it a step further because they like to be playful with brushing their teeth.
Yeah.
So I think they look forward to the idea of like, oh, I can gargle or I can or put a lot of water in my mouth and be silly and like shoot it in the sink.
Yeah.
So indirectly, we've created a separate problem.
We got them
Then
too into it.
right. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
our older one still sometimes struggles if she is not as excited to play the water
Whole
game
thing.
at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is something that I just thought about while we were talking, and it reminded me of, you know how with little boys when they're teaching like peeing standing up, they do like the target practice with the Cheerios. You could theoretically do something like that with spitting. So like in the sink, you could put like some targets in the sink and try to have them aim spitting the water at that target. That might potentially be fun for them. For us, we also are trying to get them to make it kind of like a game. So, like Matt was mentioning, they're gargling now. They didn't gargle before, but sometimes getting them to the step of gargling might help then get to the step of spitting out. I will say, when we did finally have success with spitting out, the next issue was that they were now spraying it on the mirror, like intentionally. So when they spit spraying on the mirror. So even though you get them to spit, you might still have some steps to work on after that to get them to spit appropriately. But I would say if you're using fluoride-free toothpaste and you're trying to move up to fluoride, I think try to make it playful in a game, and I would say try to do that target practice. I'm not sure what he's into, if there's like little toys that he likes, bath toys, whatever it may be, and just have him try to aim and hit those. You can make it more fun by having him like win a prize, like make it like a mini carnival where like if you knock out these things with spitting the water at it, you get a sticker or something like that. And just make it fun. I always lean towards gamifying things.
And that's why we have little toys in your sink so you can practice spitting there too.
Yeah, I hate brushing because of the sound. Oh, I still get goosebumps from that. Uh, so next question. I have a 10-year-old boy who often gets stared at in public and has moments of defiant behavior. What methods do you use that actually work when dealing with both stares and pushback? So that one's challenging in that I believe that it really depends on your own personality and how you handle conflict. Some people are conflict avoidant, some people are definitely not. I think for us, we're kind of a mixed bag, don't you think? Like we go
Yeah.
between both.
Yeah, it's hard because like especially with like other kids, like it's like okay, when do we get involved with the other kid, because like obviously we're coming at it from an adult to a another child. I mean, we can talk to the other parents, but like if it's like our kid is being bullied and we don't know where the parents are, then that's a little bit of a different delicate nature. I feel like
Yeah,
you
but
typically handle that.
this one is specifically saying how do you handle moments of defiant behavior. So, like, if your kid is having a meltdown or something because they're not listening to what you're saying, or they don't want to, like, sometimes when we go to the store, for example, our kid gets fixated on a certain toy or something, but they can't have it. So that could lead to a meltdown. And then people are staring because when it comes to autism, those meltdowns tend to be quite
Right.
aggressive sometimes.
Right.
Um, so in those situations, like for me personally, I am the type of person that just decides to like take a deep breath and blur out the world. Like to me, I just get tunnel vision and I do that intentionally. I'm like, I'm going to tunnel in on my child and the situation here because to me that becomes the priority. That is the most important thing. So my first and ultimate goal is to help co-regulate my child, getting down eye level, trying to use a calming voice, focusing on basically getting them in a good place. And then once I've got that settled, or if I have to basically remove them from the store or whatever the solution is there, then I should focus to dealing with the people staring or pushing back. I would say for me, 9 times out of 10, I am not super concerned with what people care about, what people think about my child. Like 9 times out of 10, I just kind of smile and I like try to politely educate if they ask or if they say anything, but I don't really engage in it because it's not my priority. At that time, I'm focusing on the well being of my kid.
Yeah, I agree. We used to have a lot of problems or challenges with our oldest daughter with this. Mostly when she was, I feel like 3 was kind of a rough patch. Um, and the park was a big one. Anytime we'd go to the park, we'd always be thinking like, okay, what is our exit strategy for the park? Because as soon as it's time to go, it's going to either be a meltdown or her screaming. Just like that was a constant thing whenever we'd go to the park. So there's two ways to think about it. Either like, oh, we can like never go to the park again, which is not an option, or we have to try and think of a better strategy to try and move forward. I think for us, we tried to use the idea of we're going to put something else in her mind to focus on while we're kind of exiting or going to the car from the park. So oftentimes we would have another fun activity that we would know she would like, and we would do that immediately after the park. So it would allow us to fixate her mind on, oh, we're having fun at the park, but there's this even better thing that we're going to right now. So that allowed us to kind of exit the park. Granted, like you can't keep doing more and more awesome things indefinitely. Eventually, you're gonna have to like go home and not have fun. And I think for us, we kind of do the first then language a little bit. That kind of helped. Um, but yeah, honestly, sometimes it's basically just you pick up your child and you kind of just walk out and you just kind of stay focused on the door, and people are probably looking at you, they're probably making comments or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's a group of people you're never going to likely see again. They don't know you, they don't know your story, and if they do know you, then they know the circumstances on which you're dealing with, so they'll give you grace in that sense. So I mean, I feel like you're it's more so you have to not care about what the average person thinks who you don't know, that you can't worry about what the stranger thinks, and just kind of keep doing what you're doing and walking towards the door or out of the activity that they're having a meltdown in. Because again, if it is a person who actually knows you, then they know the struggles that you're going through with the sensory overload, a meltdown, everything like that, and I mean, they know the story, so there's no need to convince them about what the challenge is. But yeah, that's sometimes the best way to go.
Yeah. And I think again, that's just, varies by personality. Every parent's going to have a little bit different of a struggle. So this one is my daughter won't wear anything with tags, seams, or certain fabrics. Getting dressed is a daily battle. Do you have any sensory friendly clothing hacks that work? So, yes, actually. Um, One of the things that works really well is tagless brands. So, if you have shirts with the tag and that's really irritating to the kid, there's a lot of tagless brands now and it is more common now. So, it's pretty easy to find. Also, one of the things that we have done consistently, so our daughter, not only does she have issues with certain kind of sensory things with clothing, but she's also very avoidant and triggered by certain patterns on her clothing. There's certain things like certain animals or faces or things that she's always been triggered by and will not want to wear. And all of our clothes is honestly, we're cheap. It's hand me downs. So we didn't get to pick the clothes. So we get what we get, right? So what we've worked on is turning her outfits inside out. That way she doesn't have to see the pattern and usually she's calmed. And also the seams of clothing, if they're the thicker ones, if you turn it inside out, that solves that problem as well. Now, it really depends on you as a parent. Like, do you care that your kid is wearing inside out clothes? Us personally, I don't care. Again, I don't care what the public thinks. I'm doing this for a good reason, and my kid is totally happy as a clam with it. So for us, it's worth it. So there's that. Matt, do you have any other recommendations or suggestions based off of what you've seen or what our kids have used?
No, I mean, obviously, like for socks, I mean, they definitely flock towards the soft, very comfy ones. Like your standard sock does not fly. So we have to be very specific, and we actually have to like feel the material to make sure that it's soft, that they're going to be okay with it, because they are very picky with that. Half the time, our youngest daughter goes without wearing socks, so she has like her little shoes that they're kind of what like they call them what, Mary Janes or
They're
something.
Mary Janes. We
Right.
specifically pick shoes for her that don't require socks because she can't tolerate socks.
Right. So very rarely does she actually wear socks. So we have her wear shoes that don't require them, such as Crocs, Mary Janes. Granted, sometimes in winter, like yes, she'll have to wear socks. In which case, we have to make sure that they're very soft and they're inside out, so she doesn't feel the seam. I think sometimes, depending on the clothes, if it's an undershirt, I feel like you can get away with doing it inside out. And if you're worried about appearances or something, sometimes you can get like those like I don't know little cardigans or like a little like sweatshirt to put over the top of it because since the cardigan won't be against their skin, it can be right facing because the seams will be against the other shirt. So you might be able to get away with wearing the undershirt inside out and then the shirt on top of it regular. Honestly, sometimes we don't even care. We just turn it inside out.
Yeah.
We're like, this is
Yeah.
this is just our day. So,
And the
but
two fabrics that we've had the most success with has been jersey knits and bamboo knits. So those are the ones that are really breathable. They're light, they're soft. Personally, I pretty much only wear those for that reason. But those are probably the best tips we have in that area. There's really a lot of micro changes you can do too. So feel free to hit us up if you want more specifics. We're happy to answer those in our Patreon. So next question here is, we've tried every visual schedule and routine chart, but my son still struggles with transitions. Is there anything else I can try that actually helps? Um, so Matt, if you recall, when our oldest was young, she's still young. What am I talking about? Younger. She really struggled with timers. She still does now. She had transitions issue. Do you remember what we did to get her to transition when we were like at the playground and she didn't want to have visuals or clocks or a countdown or anything? Do you remember? She was really into Moana at the time.
did we sing a song?
Yeah. Yeah, we sang a
Okay.
song. So what we would do is we would play songs or we would sing songs. And because the song has a certain set time to it, most songs are like a minute, 30 seconds long or something reasonable. We would just tell her, like, okay, when you hear the song playing, that means it's time to start wrapping up. And when the song ends, we have to go. And this is actually something that you had brought up even today for homework as like something for us to use for like the speed drill.
Right, because she hates the idea of a timer, that it's a countdown. She's worried what's going to happen when you get to zero. Is there going to be a sound or some type of other association to the end? But she's okay with songs because obviously songs end, um, but it's like a constant melody. So
Yeah.
generally, if you're able to find something that a short song, like a minute or something, she can listen to the song. She knows the song. She's not going to get concerned about a random sound at the end of it. And then she gets an idea of how long the time is left.
Yeah, and if the issue that they're having is that they just still can't transition effectively once the timer happens, what you can also do is give them like a transition object. That's what we did with our kid too. The thing with autism is that a lot of change can be anxiety inducing, and so sometimes providing a constant helps suppress that anxiety. So if you give them, for us it was like a stuffed bird at the time. She was really into birds, so we gave her a little small stuffed animal of a bird, and she was allowed, we even had this in her IEP, to bring that bird with her pretty much everywhere. That way something always remained the same, and that gave her a sense of security. So if you're able to give that child, like if it's a boy, I don't know if maybe he likes a toy race car or a teddy bear or something that he enjoys, that comfort item would go with him from place to place to place, from transition to transition, so he'd always have something in common. And that really helps reduce the anxiety there.
Uh,
Um,
well, I was
oh,
going to
go
say the
ahead.
other thing is sometimes if we're transitioning from outside to inside, we will get all sorts of sticks, flowers, pine cones, rocks that are coming with us on the journey back to our car or to our house. So sometimes they like
Yeah.
find their own transition thing that they're like, I really like this stick. And they'll like hold on to it and they'll ask if they can bring it. And we're like, yeah, sure, bring this stick with us. So
Yeah, that
sometimes
stick
they get
goes
creative.
everywhere. It's
Yeah,
in the
sometimes they get
car, it's in the
creative.
bathroom. Yeah. Okay, so the next one here. How do you help an autistic child make friends when they don't seem interested in other kids but still get lonely? That one's a little bit tough because I think that we have to really understand the child that we're talking about. Like, have you had the conversation where you for sure know that they're not interested in other kids? It seems like the question says they don't seem interested in other kids but still get lonely. That might be like a false assessment. It might just look on the outside like they don't seem interested, but they are probably interested because every human longs for connection. That's the whole point of the Love on the Spectrum show. But yeah, I would look into trying to find ways for them to connect with peers in ways that they're comfortable with. So, like, step one for our kids was parallel play, not having the pressure of having to really socially engage with that kid yet, but putting them in situations where they can parallel play with other kids. Some places where this is great is things like bowling activities. I don't know how old your kid is, but bowling is a great parallel play because you're doing your own thing, but you're with other people. Things like golf, things like archery, just sports where you can do it yourself, but you're around other people. I think that would be one good way to do it. Matt, do you have any other tips on that?
Well, I was just trying to think, like, I mean, even like some type of like art or something. So um, like either like painting, coloring that, or like almost like playing in like sand, essentially. Like we have like the sand table, or is it sand tables? Like with the kinetic sand
Sensory
and
tables, yeah,
yes, that's what it's called.
yeah.
So I mean, they can have like friends like play there because most kids are like they're doing their own thing with like the sand, whether it's like building like a sandcastle or digging or something. But you can also have someone next to you. So even though you're both doing your own thing, they can kind of be like parallel playing essentially and have some person with them.
I like this next question because maybe you'll see why this one relates to me. We'll see. So this next question says, my son repeats questions over and over, even after I answer them. I don't want to shut him down, but it's so hard to stay patient. What would you do? Do you know how this relates to me at all?
Every time we're in the car and we have mom, yes, honey, mom, yes, honey, and we just get like 50 moms, but there's never the
Literally, it's
follow up of why mother is being
it's
requested
I get
or
I get the
summons
mom
summoned.
I get the mom question. Mom? Mom? Yes? Mom? Yes? Mom? Yeah, what do you need? Like, yeah, literally like 15 times in a row. But, I just take a deep breath. I try to ask, follow-ups like, do you need something? Is something wrong? Are you excited about something? Honestly, have not had a lot of success. Um, she seems to not quite be able to process what she wants to ask.
It's almost like it's like a pacifier of sorts. Like she likes to say mom and to like kind of hear that you are there. So it's like kind of like I don't know, sonar. She's sending out a signal.
Sonar
You're coming back.
echolocating me.
Yes, she's like mom, and you're like yeah, and she's like okay, and then like 5 seconds
Okay,
later,
she's still there. Okay,
mom,
I'm good.
mom, yeah. So she needs to
Yeah.
bounce back. So I mean that could be who knows, but I feel like it's more of a comfort thing than an actual question or a request from you. It's more so like where are you at? Are you
Yeah.
still in the front seat as we're driving down the interstate for the last 5 miles? Yeah. So
Yeah. But I do understand the frustration with this one because repeating the same question over and over, even though you answer it, I can absolutely see how that can be frustrating just based off of my experience. But what I try to do and what we did with our oldest child, because our oldest child, she's twice exceptional, and I think a lot of that was part of the reason why she used to ask a lot of questions when she was young. So she used to ask us questions over and over and over. And what I did at the beginning is give her like a 3 question repetition limit. So she would ask me a question, I would respond. She would ask me a question, I would respond. She would ask me a question, I would respond. After the third time, I basically let her know, like, oh, you used up your 3 tries. Now you have to ask a new question. And at first, she didn't really get that. It took repetition and really reinforcing that pattern with her. But eventually, we did get to a point where she was able to do that, and now she doesn't do it anymore. But this is years later, so it took time. But what I've learned is to be flexible, still allow them the ability to express that. I still allow them to repeat if they need to repeat because sometimes, they just need to scratch that itch. And so I accommodate that by giving them repetition, but I also set some boundaries so that it doesn't become like not a negative thing because it's not going to necessarily hurt them, but you also want it to be productive and help them become productive members of society or at least productive in their conversations with people. So that's why we cap it at 3 and we haven't really had an issue after that.
you could also, depending on, I mean, it also depends on what the question is together. You could also kind of reflect the question back to them. So then you are working with your child to get to the answer. So it could be like, Gosh, I can't even think of one.
Why is the
Mom,
sky blue?
right. I mean, well, that's a little bit harder of a one for young kids. But you could ask them like, "Oh, why do you think the sky is blue?" And then kind of like get through like a discussion of like what their thoughts are, and be like, "Oh, have you thought about this?" I mean, it depends. Like, I mean, if it's more so like the same repetitive question, I mean, then yeah, it's kind of hard because like once you answer the question or you've had reflected back and you've answered it with them, then it's kind of already resolved. But it could be a way when they're asking a new question that you kind of reflect back and you kind of work through the answer together, so then that they feel that they've solved the question, and maybe through that realizing like, oh, maybe instead of just asking anytime I don't understand something, I can try and figure it out myself. And then if I am getting like stuck somewhere, I can ask for help, essentially.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely something that we've been able to try and we've seen some success in. I think that we have time. Now, we probably don't have time for another question and the random selection. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up. If you guys have any more questions that you want us to answer, we're happy to do it. We're answering questions all the time on the Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/autismwish, go on any of the posts there. We do have an AMA post specifically. You can just comment in the post there, and then we'll go through and we'll answer those questions. If there's enough interest, we might even do like a Patreon member live stream where we can interact with you guys and answer those questions too. We just need to have enough of an interest to set something up like that. So just let us know. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to go ahead and switch up to the April Embracing Autism grant. So I'm going to pull up the wheel of names here. Okay, so before we wrap up today's episode, it's time to celebrate one of our community members. This is for this month. What we decided to do is we would celebrate people in our Embracing Autism community on Patreon. So whether you were a free member or a paid member, your name was entered in this wheel. If you were a paid member, your name was entered in here 5 times. That's a perk of being a member. And this month's winner is going to be receiving an item of up to $100 from their sensory wish list on Amazon. So we will reach out to you to get your information if we don't already have it. But let's go ahead and spin that wheel to find out who our winner is.
Spin
And
that
no
wheel.
telling what the names are going to be because people use screen names on Patreon. So,
Heck
all right, let's see what we got. The winner is Jessica Yates. Oh, good. A actual name. Jessica, congratulations. We will be reaching out to you on the email that you signed up for on Patreon. We will reach out to you there to follow up on this and make sure that you are squared away. To everybody else, thank you so much for entering. If you want a chance to be chosen for next month's grant, make sure you head over to our Patreon and join for just $5 a month. That's really a small amount that helps support this podcast and all of our programs, our grants, all of that is only possible because of this. And it comes with some great perks, just like the extra 5 bonus entries. We have printables there. You get early podcast release. You have access to us. There's a lot of stuff there. Also, a reminder that starting in June, the Embracing Autism grant is only going to be available to autistic children in Georgia. For those of you who are like free members, and to our paid Patreon members. So essentially, there's going to be access to the Georgia residents that are children. And for those of you, you do not have to be paid member to be part of it. However, if you're outside of Georgia or you are an autistic adult, then you will need to become a Patreon member in order to be selected or put into the pool of the selection. So our members also do get that 5 bonus entries. You get a fast track application, which is a lot simpler and easier to apply for. And it'll be open to autistic adults, which is the bonus. And on top of that, as long as your account is active, if you're a paid member, you only need to apply once and you will be re-entered every month and you can be selected multiple times, whereas non-paid members can only get selected once a year. So yes, heads up, we are officially also canceling the old newsletter and moving all of our updates and exclusives over to the Patreon as well. So that's just another reason for you guys to join our Patreon. We're really just trying to put everything in one spot because we kind of had the newsletter here, social media here, podcast here, Patreon there. And we just think it'll be a lot easier for everyone if we just consolidate everything to one spot. So please, 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 if you have not yet, join that. Again, it's free for non-perk version, and then you can just do $5 a month if you do want those perks. So yeah, anything else, Matt?
No, I think you got everything.
I know that was a lot, right? So that's it for today's AMA episode. Thank you again for asking your questions. They really help remind us that none of us are doing this alone. And if this episode helped you feel seen or supported, please consider joining and sharing your story in our Patreon or in the YouTube comments on YouTube at Autism Wish or Facebook and Instagram at Autism Wish. Until next time, keep advocating, keep learning, and most of all, keep embracing autism. Bye, everyone.
Bye.